The Bank of Industry (BOI) is Nigeria's oldest, largest, and most successful development financing institution. BOI's current authorized share capital is 250 billion naira. Its shareholders are the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, Central Bank of Nigeria, and 42 private institutional and individual investors. The bank's core mandate is the provision of financial assistance for the establishment of small, medium, and large enterprises, as well as for the expansion, diversification, and modernization of existing enterprises and rehabilitation of ailing industries. BOI's vision is to be Africa's leading development finance institution, operating under global best practices. While its mission is to transform Nigeria's industrial sector by providing financial and business support services to enterprises. The bank's operations are driven by the following core values: service, professionalism, passion, integrity, resourcefulness, innovation, and team spirit. BOI's Managing Director and Chief Executive provides more insight on the bank's vision and mandate.
BOI would like to become the leading development finance institution, not only in Nigeria but in Africa. What that means is that in terms of industrial development, BOI will play a significant role in the key sectors. According to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, they've identified that commodity-based industrialization is the best way forward. And what does it mean? It says that rather than export, primary agri products, add value to them locally. So you have agro-processing. Rather than export, solid minerals that's just dug from the ground, can you add value locally in terms of beneficiation? Can you, rather than export maybe iron ore and barite and all those other solid minerals, can you process them locally and add value?
BOI also has 4 subsidiary companies that complement its services: BOI Microfinance Bank Limited, BOI Investment and Trust Company Limited, Likon Financial Services Limited, Industrial and Development Insurance Brokers Limited. The Bank of Industry has a 9-member board of directors that comprises the chairman, the managing director and chief executive, 3 executive directors, and 4 institutional representatives.
I must stress the fact that there's no greater expectation that the role of BOI will be felt more in the economy now and in the future more than ever before. I am aware that the Bank of Industry has had a number of initiatives already to support this group. Part of it is a bottom of the pyramid program, cooperative lending. So I know that it had started taking steps towards addressing this already. What I'm asking for is that now we scale it up and do far much more than we had done in the past.
BOI's chairman gave assurance that a lot would be done to meet the needs of the nation's industrial sector, especially small and medium enterprises.
Most of these companies should, one, expect financial advisory services from the bank, because BOI is really good when it comes to that kind of thing. Secondly, efficiently run credit administration from the bank, and also access to the bank's market intelligence reports that will aid and guide businesses in making sound business decisions. Now we'll ensure that there is efficiency, reduction of downtime in terms of loan application, loan review, loan disbursement. So there are a lot of advantages, that these SMEs and companies should expect from the bank.
In order to ensure that BOI delivers effectively and efficiently on its mandate, the bank has intensified collaboration with its domestic and foreign development partners.
The interesting thing about being a DFI is that you are right at the center of activity. You are right in the middle of the economy. So we must, of necessity, interact with several stakeholders, government, non-governmental, domestic, international, and so on and so forth. So on the domestic scene, we deal with a lot of stakeholders in terms of several, state governments, most of the, ministries at the national level. The Federal Ministry of Agric is a very important partner for us. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals, the Federal Ministry of Communication Technology. We relate with the research centers. We have visited PRODA, I've visited FIRO, I've visited NASENI, I've visited Raw Material Research and Development Council. So a lot of stakeholders, in short, in Nigeria. At the international level, we're also engaging. We are in partnership with United Nations Development Program. We work very actively with UNIDO. There's a program that they're about to introduce to Nigeria called the SPX, which BOI is going to play a very important role in doing that in Nigeria. It's about how can we insert our domestic producers, domestic SMEs into the value chain of the major multinational companies. International DFIs are also talking to us, again, as part of our strategy to diversify our funding base from government to other sources. So we're talking to BNDES of Brazil, we're talking to Industrial Development Corporation of South Africa, we're talking to FMO of Netherlands. So it's been really very busy. We're talking to even the customer groups, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASME, NASI.
The Bank of Industry's operations have been aligned with Nigeria's economic agenda, under which the government is determined to increase the contribution of the manufacturing sector to Nigeria's gross domestic products from 6.8% in 2014 to double digits by 2020, with the micro, small and medium enterprises sector playing significant roles. Accordingly, the bank's new board and management in 2014 embarked on a corporate transformation project. Its highlights include the reorganization of its business directorates in alignment with the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP, and the National Enterprise Development Program, NEDEP, that were launched by President Goodluck Jonathan in February 2014.
Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan and the National Enterprise Development Program would also give fresh impetus to our national transformation agenda by ushering in a new era of value addition, enterprise development, and industrialization.
In line with the government's emphasis on the rapid development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector, the bank's new leadership established a separate executive directorate in charge of small and medium enterprises. The bank's 7 regional offices located in Abuja, Bauchi, Kaduna, Ibadan, Enugu, Port Harcourt, and Lagos, and the 14 state offices that have so far been established make up the SME Directorate that handles small and medium-sized businesses in areas where the respective regions and states have comparative advantages, as outlined in NEDEP and NIRP. The Bank of Industry has embarked on a number of innovative steps to deepen its credit delivery process and enhance the access of MSMEs to financial services. Since poor packaging of loan applications and lack of access to working capital have been identified as 2 of the major challenges facing MSMEs, BOI, in a competitive process, appointed 122 business development service providers, BDSPs, to assist MSMEs with the preparation of bankable business plans and also provide them with post-disbursement services such as mentoring and capacity building that would ensure proper utilization of loans and their repayment. In continuation of its drive towards building an ecosystem for MSMEs in Nigeria, the Bank of Industry also went into partnership with some SME-friendly commercial banks that are to provide MSMEs, assisted by BOI, with working capital at negotiated interest rates. Another bold initiative embarked upon by the Bank of Industry towards fulfilling its developmental mandate is the creation of a 5 billion naira Cottage Agro-Processing Fund, CAP Fund. This is designed to address the challenge of post-harvest losses by financing the establishment of cottage agro-processing plants that produce food products and other intermediate products for industries. A minimum of 20,000 direct and indirect jobs are expected to be created under the first phase of the scheme. Under the new dispensation, the bank is set to increase its exposure to SMEs from its present level of less than 10% to 30% over the next 3 to 5 years.
We handle transactions that fall between 5 million naira and 500 million naira. Those above 500 million naira are processed by the Large Enterprises Directorate, while those below 5 million naira are handled under the bottom of the pyramid scheme, under which we on-lend to microfinance banks because they have specialized skills for handling micro enterprises. We also lend below 5 million naira under managed fund arrangements with some of our development partners, particularly state governments.
The Bank of Industry is one of our local funding partners. We benefited from 2 of their wholesale funding schemes, one of which is the bottom of the pyramid scheme. This scheme, in my opinion, as somebody who does microfinance, probably is the most impactful fund out there for microfinance at the moment. If I want to make it even further more fantastic is the fact that it's a fund targeted at what you call the economically active poor.
A lot of customers have benefited. About 686 beneficiaries have accessed this same BOP fund. So well over 2,000 jobs have been created with the access to this funding. I think it's a laudable initiative. I think BOI should be commended for this great initiative.
Before I got the support from the Bank of Industry, I think we were 3. And after that, we have our staff strength has grown to 11.
Without BOI, I could have been employed with 2 people or thereabouts. And I maybe have 3 or 4 workers, but now I have many of them. So without BOI, many people that are benefiting from us, they could have not.
The Large Enterprises Directorate that is mandated to implement NIRP comprises the following business groups: agro-processing, solid minerals and metals, gas, energy and petrochemicals, as well as engineering, ICT and construction, creative industry, and gender business.
Each group is given clearly defined KPIs, that is key performance indicators, in line with the outcome being expected as enshrined in the NRP documents: job creation, import substitution, export expansion, and so on and so forth.
In pursuit of the BOI's commodities-based industrialization strategy, the bank's 2 business directorates actively support projects that utilize local raw materials with extensive value chains and ventures that have high employment and export-generating potentials, as well as those that promote linkages between micro, small, medium and large enterprises, Nigeria's local content initiatives, and those sponsored by women. In order to facilitate the delivery of its mandate and make the required impact on Nigeria's industrialization drive, the Bank of Industry has continued to deepen its collaboration with relevant domestic and foreign development partners.
We like working with the government-sponsored financial service institutions because they have the voice of the country and they really have the ability to work to the broadest possible constituency, and we think that's important in Nigeria.
And domestically, BOI has been engaging research institutes and centers of innovation. Based on its highly impressive performance, BOI has continued to attract funding from the public and private sectors, as well as the international development community. Consequently, the bank has been appointed to manage more than 30 special intervention funds. They include 2 on behalf of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the 235 billion naira refinancing and restructuring facility for manufacturing firms, as well as the 300 billion naira Power and Aviation Intervention Fund. The other major funds under BOI's management include the National Automotive Councils Fund, in respect of which BOI received 18.1 billion naira, the 13.6 billion naira rice and cassava processing fund, as well as the 3.4 billion naira cassava bread fund being managed on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development under the Agric Transformation Agenda.
I think the Bank of Industry has a reputation for prudent management. And we have a reputation as a ministry for prudent management and placements to them. So far, in all the things that we've done, they've performed very well.
BOI also manages micro, small and medium enterprises development funds, totaling 11.2 billion naira for 17 state governments.
Let me at this juncture again thank the board and management of Bank of Industry for their commitment to industrialization, not only in Ondo State, but in Nigeria.
One of the things we have been doing is to partner with people and agencies that we feel can contribute to the general focus of the development we have in our state. And one of the institutions that we have targeted was the Bank of Industry, mainly because we know the significant role that you play in the development of the economy.
And from the private sector, BOI's partnership with Dangote Foundation, under which a 10 billion naira small business development fund was established, marked the first legacy fund to be managed by the bank.
You can actually go out there and you can borrow money as an SME, either alone or in group. And once you meet up with the conditions, you'll be able to get money at 5%.
Over a period of 14 years, the bank witnessed unprecedented expansion in its credit operations without compromising the quality of its risk assets and posted impressive financial returns. While not much was achieved within the first 9 years, as loans totaling 114.3 billion naira were approved, the cumulative value of loans, however, rose sharply to 823 billion naira between 2010 and 2014. As the bank continues to wax stronger, the ratio of its non-performing loans have consistently remained at single digit. This has been attributed to BOI's robust enterprise-wide risk management framework.
We try to identify what the risks are. We take the measurements. We also evaluate the impacts on our visions and mandates. Then if it's something that is within our risk appetite as a bank, we take it. If it's outside our risk appetite, we reject. And not only that, for customers that are able, they have the resources to pay us, but they're unwilling to pay us because possibly they thought that yes, loan from Bank of Industry is part of their national cake. We have a way of addressing them, and that we have sent strong, warning to them that this money is a loan, and they have to pay it back.
More than 4,000 beneficiaries from various sectors of the manufacturing industry make up BOI's rising clientele. The development effectiveness of BOI's operations have been remarkable, as more than 1.8 million cumulative jobs were created over the period. In addition to employment generation, projects financed by BOI in the pharmaceutical industry and the power sectors also had considerable development impact. The new and existing power projects financed under the Power and Aviation Intervention Fund now contribute 838.8 megawatts to the nation's total power generation, which is about 25% of the total output. 3 of the pharmaceutical firms financed by BOI have been integrated into the global drug supply chain, sequel to their upgrade with BOI's support to attain the World Health Organization WHO's Good Manufacturing Practice (GMP) certification. The certification has enabled the pharmaceutical companies to produce high-quality drugs that now allows them to participate in international drug supply bidding exercises sponsored by global development institutions. Thus, BOI has been able to effectively integrate Nigeria's pharmaceutical industry into the global drug distribution value chain, in line with the bank's mission. The BOI's customers comprise most of Nigeria's major manufacturing companies that operate in key sectors of the economy. Those financed in the agro-processing business include Dangote Flour Mills, the United Food Industries, Flour Mills of Nigeria, and Honeywell Flour Mills. Nigeria German Chemical Industries and Bagco Mopac Nigeria Limited are amongst the bank's leading customers in the gas, energy and petrochemicals sector. CAM Industries, which is an indigenously promoted cold steel rolling mill, as well as the Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, and many others whose businesses come under the Solid Minerals and Metal Group, were also actively supported by the Bank of Industry. The Innocent Group, that was assisted by BOI to grow from an SME to now one of Nigeria's manufacturing conglomerates that produces made-in-Nigeria vehicles, is amongst the leading firms financed by the bank in the area of engineering, ICT and construction. Island Power and Akute Power Limited are some of the many power projects financed by BOI under the Power and Aviation Intervention Fund. Arik Air, Aero Contractors, and Camerton Helicopters also benefited from the Power and Aviation Intervention Fund, along with many other aviation industry operators. Most of the bank's customers attribute their fortunes to the strong support they receive from BOI.
Support in its entirety is what they give.
My relationship with Bank of Industry has been very cordial. When they saw my submission in terms of metering and what we are presently doing in the past, they were highly impressed. They said this is a scheme they need to fund, and they supported us so much.
Bank of Industry have not just given us money and say pay us back, but they've given us money and they've stayed with us all through.
They are the only bank, I would say today, support the industry at a very economical end.
When I approached them for a loan, they didn't know me, and I didn't know anybody there. The moment I had everything they wanted, or the moment I met all the criteria, my loan was granted.
Before the intervention, this company had been going on a lot of trading, and when the intervention came, increasing our capacity from 40% to 70%, and making our company to be having a steady, smooth operation.
We don't know how to appreciate what the bank has done to us. Really, the bank has really helped us when it comes, especially funding our plant and machinery. The bank has always been there, and so far so good. You know, we've had a very mutual relationship with them.
Minus Bank of Industry, I cannot grow. With this is giving us money easily, makes the factories to grow, and I will never disappoint them.
For consistently honoring their obligations to the Bank of Industry over the years, the bank also inducted 10 of its most outstanding customers into its Hall of Fame. In spite of these laudable achievements, the bank's management is not resting on its oars as it assiduously pursues its vision, mission, and mandate. In this regard, it is striving at global best practices. Accordingly, BOI is implementing a corporate transformation project that is designed to strengthen the institution. This has entailed building the institution's capacity by embarking on frequent training and retraining programs. One of the most remarkable features of the Bank of Industry's corporate transformation is the overhaul of its information technology system to enhance the automation of its operation and retention of the very high confidence that BOI enjoys within the domestic and international financial system. In order to validate this impressive reputation in line with global best practice, BOI, for the first time, submitted itself to a domestic rating exercise. Under the process that was conducted in 2014 by one of Nigeria's leading rating agencies, Augusto & Co., the Bank of Industry was impressively rated A-.
For the first time, we got a rating. I think we are probably the only development bank in Nigeria that has so been rated. We are not there yet, and we believe that by supporting players and companies in these sectors, we will have contributed significantly to really to the achievement of Nigeria's strategic vision of becoming a top 20 economy by the year 2020.